unmute. Good morning. Thank you so much for the kind invitation. I'm really delighted to be talking about Twitter, one of my passions here today. Let me just get my screen set up properly. There we go. So today I'm going to give you a whistle stop on how to make the most out of Twitter, and also cover some of the real basics behind how to maintain an account. So this is a nice reflective quote on why Twitter is so helpful. There's so much information to go through. I could do a talk on an endoscopy specific topic, but I think if I were to teach someone about Twitter, they can gain a lot and use their own time for personal development and learning. Twitter has a reach. It is a very useful platform for education, but its market share compared to other social media companies is a bit on the lower side. So Facebook, for instance, has a much bigger market share, and Azam's Facebook pages can have much wider reach. But Twitter is fantastic because it allows content, which is usually very short, to be propagated and discussed very, very, very quickly without needing followers to access it. So the first thing that when you use Twitter is to have some sort of a goal as to why you're using it. For me personally, I use it for education. I use it to stay up to date and to learn. And over time, I've used it to teach 2 or 3 things every day. I'm not there all the time, contrary to what people think, but I make a point of tweeting 2 or 3 things every day that interests me or is relevant to my clinical practice. I use it to connect with people, like-minded clinicians, and with patients and a wider audience. I use it to disseminate things that I find interesting on my research, and to collaborate with other people. You can use it to have a voice or to raise other people's voices by empowering them. You can also really support your institute and develop a personal brand, which we'll touch on later on. So have a goal and define why people should follow your account to make it successful. And this is just the elements of a social media page. And social media works by having a news feed that when people scroll, your tweet or your content comes up. And the way that this is prioritized is all dependent on an algorithm. So this is my profile. So start off with having a profile. You need a username, which ideally doesn't have lots of random numbers. It should just be your name that is searchable. It's really annoying to have experts out there who use really obscure or funny usernames that you can never find them when you search for their name. Have a short little bio that's a pitch to others as to what it's about. It should include your passions, photos, hashtags if they're relevant. So I use GI Twitter, which is actually created by Austin Chang, I think. I use a link to my research website, and above all, avoid personal information like your date of birth or your birthday, because that's an easy way of getting scammed. Twitter runs on a few things on your account. You create a tweet, you can retweet, you can like, and that's pretty much about it. You can message other people, but it's a fantastic platform to interact with the wider world. So what do I tweet about? I think I tweet about whatever makes me happy, positive. I share learning. I tweet about what matters to me, but without talking about controversial things like politics, etc. Whatever inspires me. And I tweet about responses, and I think especially when I'm tagged, I ask questions if I don't know what to do clinically. I tweet content that empowers people, when my followers achieve things that I'm really proud of. And also we tweet our own pearls of wisdom, and things that really make us think. And sometimes we tweet for silliness and humor, and things that are beautiful around the world. So the secret to having a tweet is to make it very succinct, because there are only 280 characters, letters, including spaces in a tweet. Have good multimedia like videos or pictures. Tag people and use hashtags. And then when people interact, be responsive. So that includes liking or responding with comments. And then you have to tweet regularly, otherwise your Twitter account becomes sleepy and dormant. But above all, be professional, be respectful, and be kind. And this is one of the tips for success from Stephen Bolipo, one of my the favorite people that I follow. And Austin's right in the middle here, he's in the crowd. But he says, number 1, be authentic. Number 2, know your purpose. Number 3, follow the right people. Number 4, be nice. Number 5, tweet regularly, because the algorithm forgets about you otherwise. Number 6, be creative. 7, share what you learn and share your knowledge. Number 8, listen. Number 9, know when to contact people offline and to contact them via direct messages, especially if you have a point that might be controversial, or if you want to contact them and give out your email address, etc. And number 10, you have to put some work into it. So what educational resources do I find helpful on Twitter? So there's a whole host of open access education stuff. GI Journal, that gives us the most up-to-date discussions on recently published stuff done by Sultan Mahmood. Liver Fellow, which covers hepatology-related topics. Scoping Sundays is what I find really passionate about, which discusses endoscopy, and things like Monday Night IBD for IBDologists out there. And journals, I follow Gut, things like Frontline Gastro, Lancet, Nature, UEG Journal, which I helped to run before. And they give you the latest stuff that has only just been published. So we get access to articles in press, which are not even in journals yet. And they may come out on the day that they are published online. So by the time that they reach the physical paper journals, they're usually too late. And for e-learning, there's a whole host of stuff out there. So EASL, trainee kind of programs. And I use it sometimes. I find that this is from New England, where they show this picture of a stool and say, what's the cause of it? And this is from upper GI bleeding. Oh, sorry, metastatic colon cancer. And and guidelines are usually very nicely summarized on here, which really helps my practice, all in a very short tweet. I find that forums are really helpful, where you have lots of experts under one roof. And Monday Night IBD, run by Al-Ainy is one of those prime time forums every Monday that I look forward to, where you have a clinical question and you see the number of experts that give different responses and think, why do people do things that way? Scoping Sundays is the flagship endoscopy forum run by Mohammed Bilal, and they've had a lot more followers since then. But they start off with a poll, a couple of experts discussing one simple topic, or one topic in endoscopy, and build on it, and everybody chips in. And you can see what different experts do when posed with a very simple question, with how do you cannulate, you can't get in, what do you do next? And there's so much variation in how people answer. This is a snapshot into GI Journal, and a summary of discussions that take place. And I really love beautiful graphics. and you can get really nice educational summaries out there. And this was one on cold snare polypectomy, summarized beautifully by Enrique Anguilla with Stephen Bolipo here. This is the zoom in version, just to show you the content and the layout of things and how pretty these are summarized. So you have wonderful visual summaries that people put in a lot of effort and time in for educational purposes. This one's on basic tips for GI endoscopy, so scope handling. And there are lots of algorithms out there, and this is one thing that I find really helpful for my practice, because as a general gastroenterologist, I rely on up-to-date clinical guidance. And this one's on how to manage a liver abscess, which always comes in handy. And when you tweet things, you can index them, and they're easy to search. And sometimes I use the audience to find out what they would do. And, you know, this is a bit of silliness. If you have a coin in the esophagus, would you return it or keep it? And this one's on what would you do in someone who's got this appearance on reflux, and it's obviously a big Zenker's diverticulum. So there's a bit of a personal reflection here, summarized into 20 words or less. And you can ask people what they use social media for. There's news content. There's also very useful educational content like textbooks by the authors, which allows you to interact directly. And then conferences as well. Ran an AEG conference just based on social media a couple of weeks ago, which was very successful. And I use it a lot for teaching, my 2 or 3 tweets a day, because of how graphic, because of the platform it gives me with graphics and audience interaction. This is a nice little diagram that I created for Twitter sharing. And things like this. This is water-assisted colonoscopy and how it works. You can put videos on GI bleeding and find out what people would do. And beautiful stuff on chest X-ray annotation. And you can use it for kind of reflective practice and keeping up and showing evidence that you have kept up to date. Promotion of your work is very important. There's Altmetrics and things like PlumX, which shows how much Twitter content has been shared. And this is important because sharing content on Twitter improves citations and visibility for the journal. And nowadays, more and more people are looking forward to things like visual abstracts, where less is actually more. One slide to summarize a whole paper. And you can collaborate with a whole host of people you've never met before and be successful getting an international viewpoint. This is a fantastic tool, I think, with Twitter, having friends and collaborating on academic stuff. And we had a paper on how to go from Twitter to getting a paper out called Twitter to Paper. And this was done with Stephen Bolipo and Kasia Polak and Al-Ainy Shababati, Mohammed Bilal, etc. So getting from Twitter to paper and using that discussion to go back onto Twitter to inspire for another paper. And I use it a lot of the time to fool around and to have a sense of humor and have a life on and joke around with my friends. But be mindful of the do's and don'ts and professionalism and what you share and what not to share. But just as a closing thought, I think Twitter is by far the best platform for education. It allows you lifelong learning. You meet really, really great people on there who are like-minded, but as well as the wider audience and patients and other healthcare professionals. Tweet regularly, but be kind and professional. Think about your goals and what you want to achieve. Have some common sense rules, and then share your work. Thank you very much.